We are continuing to follow that breaking news just into the Queen City newsroom. The Supreme Court says it will decide if former President Donald Trump can be kept off the ballot in 2024. Right now, two states, Colorado and Maine, have ruled he is not allowed on the ballot because of his actions on January 6th. Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes joins us now to talk more about this. Khalif, based off of what we've seen already, is this a surprising step to you?
It is not a surprising step. I mean, it's a couple of things. First of all, this is a case that the Supreme Court does not want to touch into because they have to make a decision if the president or former president is even eligible to be on the ballot. But this is one that they have to look at. If there's ever a case that they need to make a decision, when you have conflicting opinions across the country, the Supreme Court has to help us, give us guidance, and that's what they have to do. And it's perfect timing. You have a number of elections that are coming up right around the corner. And so if they're deciding to hear this case, hopefully they can give some guidance to states so they can ensure that he's either on the ballots that need to be printed, computer systems need to be set up. There's a lot of work that needs to get done. But first, we need to find out if he can even be on the ballot. So they have to make a decision.
How do they approach this decision? Because the public already views the Supreme Court through a partisan lens. And this is kind of a reminder of what they had to decide in 2000 with President Bush.
This is 100% Bush v. Gore type of thing. That, again, that's why I mentioned the first part, that they don't want anything to do with that, because folks believe that at that time, if Gore had won, then the Supreme Court addresses it and they talk about hanging chads and all that. We don't want those folks making that decision. And so I can understand and appreciate how some folks do not even want them making this decision. But when you're talking about constitutional issues, this is the sole place that makes those decisions, and this is where it needs to be. What I can say is when they're looking at this case, you can either determine if you are someone that's a constitutionalist and that's a traditionalist, someone that looks at the wording of the Constitution and what it exactly says, or you're someone that believes that the Constitution is some living document. And we will see when they first have oral arguments in early February, if they're going to make a decision to stick to what they have historically done, which has been constitutionalist, or if they will do a change of opinion. And if they do that, I think that may have a larger divide in the country, because if you look at their opinions in LGBTQ, in affirmative action, in abortion, they have been straight down the line in terms of their thought process. Now, this is something that would push them towards making him not be on the ballot, because the direct letter of the law of the Constitution says a person that has engaged, not been convicted, should be off the ballot and cannot hold office. So this is going to really see if folks are being partisan or if they are reading the Constitution and holding to what they've been doing for the number of cases over the last year and a half.
And the timing of this is interesting because we are just one day away from the 3rd anniversary of January 6th, which is what caused all this.